Hello. I'm ready when you are. This quote by Steve Martin has hung on my door for about a decade now. Some people have a way with words and others not have way. And that just means to me that some people can tell stories and some people can make language work for them and some people just can't. And a lot of people have tried to write for me who do not have way with words. But my way with words, I like to think that I have way, and I credit that to an early love for storytelling, which was cultivated in me with this story about the Wampus cat that my father dogged me with as a child. This Wampus cat was half man, half cat beast that lived in the river behind my house, and he preyed on little girls my age. I was fearful, and he would tell me these stories at night by the river. So to me, telling stories was just, I loved hearing them. I begged to hear the story all the time. And I read books, and I was just always wrapped up in stories. So to become a novelist living in Switzerland seemed a natural progression for my love of stories. And even my goal had a story. I was going to live in Switzerland because it just sounded sexy. But obviously did not happen. Right now I'm an alt-weekly editor living in Charleston, South Carolina. But, however, not that different of an outcome, in my opinion. It's a great place to live, right? And I'm still telling stories. The city paper is all about stories. It's about your stories, my stories. And I really was not qualified to have this job when I got it. I got it as a 27-year-old, and basically we bought the newspaper that was here at the time, and my husband, Barna, who I'm also in business with, and our business partner, Noel, they both said, "You will be the editor," and because I could tell stories, I guess. I don't know. They had the utmost confidence in me. I did not, but it seemed like the best job ever. Like, I really thought I could do a great job. So September 3rd, 1997, we put out our first cover story, and I jumped right into it. I just went out into the town and found the stories that I could tell. And the first one was about history versus progress. Charleston was struggling to move forward, but it was still clinging to this history, which it still does today. And so I still think a lot of the stories I found back then were pretty relevant. And so I just jumped right in and moved forward with the storytelling. My third cover story, I was the only writer at the time, so I wrote everything. My third cover story is about meter maids. I was like, people hate meter maids. It's a great story. I'll just follow her around all day. And I did, and she was actually really sweet. And people got so pissed off at this story because they hate these people. And they were like, how dare you? She's got a quota. And I was like, no, really, she doesn't have a quota. So it was a lot of fun. This is just a shameful thing. This was kind of like, not every story was great, okay? This became like, it's a bad story, but is it fat kids bad? So it was sort of the base from which we could only grow and get better. This cover story was really only important because writing the story, I met a guy who was an OBGYN who about 9 months later delivered my baby. That kid right there. Because what happened was, and this is my personal story, and I love telling stories, is I got knocked up right after we bought the paper, and a year later I had a baby. And so he is the kid he is today because of that. But that story, to me, it worked out fine. Everything is okay. Babies, husbands, work, it all works out. But the crazy thing, papers attract crazy people. All weeklies are really attractive to crazy people. This is our first bomb threat, maybe our only bomb threat. But I pulled that up and I was like, God, that was so innocuous. I was like, this is 20 years after Madonna, and boobs and a crucifix will cause people to want to blow you up. This goes right into another crazy story where I had this woman come marching into my office one day, and she had crazy eyes, wagging her finger in my face, and was shaming me with fire and brimstone. Her grandson was humiliated. How dare I? I was going to hell, and I was like, what is this woman talking about? I was really scared because there was really no barrier between me and the crazy people. Well, the kid had apparently bought one of these out of our classifieds, and it got stuck. Apparently he didn't need it, but he got stuck. Ended up in the ambulance humiliated as anybody would be, and she marched into my office. I was like the reason why this kid had done that. Another crazy person, this was a couple years ago, and Erica, a calendar girl, was new to the office, and she let this guy waltz into my office, and he looked like a burn victim, so it was right at the Sofa Superstore fire. So I was thinking, oh, this might be the arsonist. This guy could have been burned. This could be a really good story. And while he's talking to me, I realize he's covered in green ink. It's dripping off of him. It's like on his neck. And then I'm thinking, holy shit, this guy is fucking crazy. Like, he's right in front of me. How do I get out of here? So eventually it comes, I figure out what he wants from me. And he wants me to give him credentials to cover the Democratic debate that's happening at the Citadel with Obama and Hillary. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, what goes through your brain that that's cool? Like, that's what you're gonna do? I don't know. So anyway, but I survived. I did not die. It's a great story for me to tell today. This was just funny shit I found, and I apologize for all the analog nature of these, but we don't have a good scanner, and I just took photos of our archives. Anyway, so basically, my message is that everybody's got a cool story. You guys all have cool stories. We've told a lot of them in the paper, and we're always looking for awesome stories to tell. And I hope tonight I demonstrated that I do indeed have way.